guys, welcome to another reading vlog. I have some reading updates for you guys. I'm currently reading Rouge by Mona Awad. I'm 50% of the way through. I'm reading it on my Kindle and listening to it when I can't read it on my Kindle. It is confusing. I thought I knew where the story was going, and now I'm like a whole other thing happened in the book that is kind of icky. I'm not liking it very much, and I just don't know what's going on. I've wanted to read a Mona Awad for so long. I've wanted to read Bunny for years. Like I have a picture of a stack of books that I was going to buy at Barnes & Noble like years ago, and I took Bunny out of that stack and didn't buy it. And I know that Bunny's like everyone's favorite, and when Rouge came out, I feel like everyone that I followed didn't like it, but I think it's the one I'm the most curious about because people didn't like it. In the book, we're following our main character whose mother's just died, and they have a difficult relationship. It seems like they haven't spoken in like a long time, and when they have like spoken in the past or when they have visited each other, it's been really awkward. And our character has to go to, I can't remember her name. Mira? I think it's Mira. I could be totally wrong. She has to go to, I think, California, I'm almost positive it's California, where her mother lived, to settle her debt and like attend the funeral, all of that. Her mother left her with a bunch of debt, and she has to fix up the apartment that her mom lived in, sell it, and take care of business. When she's in her mother's apartment, there are weird things about the apartment. There are like mirrors that have all these cracks in them, and the person who takes care of the house, the like handyman, would say like, yeah, I would replace them, and then they would like instantly break. There's weird things happening with the mirrors. Kind of seems like Snow White-ish, like talking to the mirror and the mirror telling you you're the fairest of them all. Like that's what I keep thinking of. I keep thinking of Snow White, and I think Snow White has actually been mentioned in this book a few times. The daughter is obsessed with beauty. She's obsessed with beauty products, with looking beautiful, with her skincare. Like she has a super strict skincare regimen, and she has always felt that fair people with like blue eyes and blonde hair, like that type of woman, is more beautiful than herself, who has Egyptian heritage. I think her father's from Egypt, so she has like darker skin and thicker hair, and she's mentioned that many times in the book, that like she always thought her mom was so beautiful because she was fair. So she like avoids the sun and stuff like that, and she's just obsessed with her skincare. One day when she's at her mom's apartment, she's only going to be there for a few days trying to figure all of this stuff out, and doesn't really know how she's going to like fix up the apartment and sell it and settle all this debt that her mom spent a bunch of money, and we don't really know on what yet. But one day she finds a pair of her mother's shoes, and she puts them on, and her shoes kind of take her on a journey to this place where things are going on in this place. It's very strange. She like thinks it's a spa. People act really weird in this place, and they like know who she is, and she's saying and doing things that she doesn't really know why, and it's like, I don't know, it's very weird. This place seems very cult-ish and has something to do, I think, with like turning back the clock and like looking youthful, and this like wine that kind of affects you in weird ways. It's so strange. I feel like I'm gonna have to look up after reading this book, like what happened in this book. So that's what I'm currently reading, but I did DNF a book. I DNF'd Murder Road by Simone St. James. I think this one, did this win a Goodreads Choice Award, or it was like in the running for a Goodreads Choice Award. I will say, last vlog I said I have to feel really strongly about a book to DNF it, and that I really don't DNF books. I don't feel bad about DNFing books from like Libby or Kindle Unlimited. If I've purchased a book and I have like a physical copy, it's hard for me to DNF it. It really is, because I bought it, I spent money on it. But a digital book, life's too short to read a book that is free, that you can just return it and get another book. And I gave it a chance. I got 30% of the way through with Murder Road, and I thought it was boring, honestly, and I was just like, I don't care. And it's a thriller. It's like a thriller horror, and I just did not find it thrilling. I know like everyone loved that book, but I didn't. I just didn't care, and I thought, let me pick up another book. I didn't buy this, so I DNF'd it, and I gave it a fair shot. I also tried You Shouldn't Have Come Here by Geneva Rose, and I didn't know it was a romance. So I barely started it, and I was like, oh, I don't want a romance horror. And Colleen Hoover's blurb is on the front of the cover, so I was like, I don't want to read it. A book I did finish in a day was Just Like Home by Sarah Gilly. This was not what I thought it was. I thought this was going to be just a haunted house story. Like just a spooky house where spooky things happen in the house. This is actually very sad, and it's a literary horror, I think. There are so many deeper things happening than it just being a spooky read. There's a really complicated like mother-daughter relationship. It's really sad. And I highlighted some quotes on my Kindle because this book made me cry. The mother is saying to her daughter, do you know, and I'm gonna like not read all of it because there's quite a bit that I underlined, but the parts that like really made me cry. She said, do you know that my life began the moment I laid eyes on you? Talking to her daughter. You were covered in blood and screaming loud as your lungs would let you, choking on your own voice. Everything you'd ever known had just been torn away from you. Everything was cold and everything was awful, and you didn't understand what had just happened to you. I saw you there in that bedroom, raw and miserable, and I love you more than I'd ever known I could ever love anything. You didn't know it yet, but you were mine and I was yours, and I knew right then that we'd always have each other. We'd be tangled up together until the day one of us died. I remember thinking that maybe we'd both die at the same time, and wouldn't that be the best way for it to happen? Both of our lights snuffed out at once, so I'd never have to imagine a world where there was you without me or me without you. Of course, I knew that wasn't how things would go. We'd be pulled apart by time, by circumstances, the way the world works, but that seemed so far back then. It seemed impossible. Oh my gosh, I'm like choking up talking about it right now. I felt the weight of you, of whom you'd be in our little family and in the world, and that's when I became whole. I existed for a reason then. I existed for you. Oh my gosh, and that's so beautiful. I was crying. As I was reading this, I was holding my baby, and I was just like, oh my gosh. We're following our protagonist, Vera, in present time, where she's going from her home in, I don't remember where she lives. She's going back to her childhood home where her mother is there dying. She has to go and take care of her mother for a while. And she has a really bad relationship with her mother. Both of these books I'm reading have mother-daughter relationships that are really bad, and it's sad. But like her mother doesn't even want her to call her mom. Like she's trying with her mom, and sometimes in the book she's like, I don't even, like she doesn't want to try. She doesn't know like what to do with her mom. She's dying and she wants to be helpful, but the mom kind of doesn't want her help. But there's this moment in the book where her mom tells her these really sweet things, and Vera like doesn't know what to do. She's like, oh my gosh, my mom is like pouring out her heart to me, and this is so strange, and that's what made me tear up. So the book was so much more than just a haunted house, and the haunted house aspect of it is very unique, I will say. I liked it a lot. I liked aspects of this book a lot. Like the haunted house aspect of it, I did like, and I liked this kind of difficult relationship between the mother-daughter and like that scene. And the end was really good. The end had a twist that I was like, what? It was very, very interesting and sad. I really liked the author's notes at the end of the book. I hope there is never a moment in your life when the love of a monster feels like the only option you have. Most of us spend our lives searching for something too big to truly name, something that is often inadequately summarized as unconditional love. If you have gone out seeking this enormous thing and found yourself in danger, if you have spent any part of your life thinking that something monstrous was normal or inevitable, if you have lost some part of yourself in the process of looking for a place that feels like home, I hope you know that you have always deserved a better kind of love than that. There is some domestic violence in this book. Like I said, she has a really bad relationship with her mom. It kind of seemed like a love letter to those that don't receive love at home. And you know, she had a really difficult relationship with her mother, and it was just like the end was very touching, but in a sad way. So very much not what I was expecting. I just wanted a spooky haunted house story with like no meaning, just like spooky, where like people die off and we're trying to figure out what's going on. And I got something completely different. But I would recommend it if you're looking for a literary horror, a difficult family dynamic, and a good plot twist at the end. So I'm gonna continue to read Bunny, and I'm probably gonna listen to quite a bit of it because I have some things to do. And my next book that I want to read is Fantastic Land. This is a thriller that I'm gonna, physically read. And I don't know very much about this, but I'm down for just a thriller with like some horror aspects that's just kind of exciting, that's not sad. Well, I guess we'll see if this is sad or not. But it kind of seems like, Rouge has some sad elements to it. I think this is just gonna be like a fun, scary time, I think. I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna go drink a little bit of coffee. I've started drinking caffeine, like it's just very, very little, very, very little. And I'm gonna get some stuff done. September 30th, Tuesday. I can't believe tomorrow we're gonna be in October. That's insane. I made some iced coffee in my Halloween mug. I really need to get a Starbucks pumpkin cream cold brew before they're gone. I need to make it out there to get one. Those are my favorite, but I got pumpkin creamer, so it's pretty good. I'm 100 pages into Fantastic Land, and it's gripping. It really is. This hurricane hit Florida, and it hit this amusement park called Fantastic Land. The owner wanted his park to be by the ocean. Oh wait, I don't remember what the Daytona, I think by Daytona Beach, I think that's the beach where like hurricanes never hit. So he's like, it's fine if we put it by the beach because he wants his park to like overlook the ocean. But people are like, you shouldn't put it there. It's, you know, it's too close to the ocean, but he does it anyway because hurricanes never hit there. But this hurricane did, and it was a very bad hurricane, and a bunch of workers signed like a contract prior to the hurricane hitting, prior to anything happening, saying that if a disaster did happen, that they would stay at the park to kind of keep it safe, keep the stuff safe, kind of keep things running until they, like, the disaster ends or whatever happens ends. So like a bunch of workers have signed this paper saying that they would do that, and they'll get paid for like doing nothing. They just have to stay at the park. There's underground tunnels and underground like beds and food. Like they would be totally set, they get paid, and they don't have to do anything. So this hurricane hits, and it's really, really bad. We're getting different perspectives, like different interviews from different people. Like we heard one interview from like a family that went to the park and evacuated, and then the maintenance workers, the Red Cross director, a bunch of different people. And so the hurricanes hit, and it's worse than people thought, and all these workers, I think it's like 300 employees, are still in the park because they said they would do that. And then things start to go bad. As of right now, like the electricity has turned off, and they've been there for a few days, but things are already getting crazy, which I think is a little bit, I don't know, I think it might be getting too crazy too fast, because they have not like run out of food, and like crazy stuff is already happening, like torture. The park is split up into different lands, like there's pirate land and fairyland, like there's a bunch of different lands, and I guess the employees have like divided themselves into different tribes, and like some areas are like really safe and nothing's happening there, and then like the pirate areas where like a bunch of stuff is happening, and I think it's just gonna get worse. But something happened to one person already, and I was like, oh my gosh, that is awful. And so they're not getting rescued because, so the reason that they're like trapped there, no one has rescued them in a few days, is because, I don't know, the people that are in charge of rescuing people, I don't know if it's just like first responders or Red Cross, like they know that they have supplies there. They know that they're like okay. So they're not a priority. There are people that are like stranded and in way worse condition all over like this area in Florida. So they decided to like leave Fantastic Land because they know that they're fine, and focus their attention elsewhere. So Fantastic Land, they said, like the manager that's kind of in charge of everyone, he's like, we're gonna probably be here for like a day or two, and then we'll be like fine. And I'm assuming they're gonna be there for a long time. But it's interesting so far. I'm curious to see what the other tribes end up kind of doing. So right now we kind of have one tribe that's just going crazy, and the other tribes are kind of like, whoa, like what's going on over there? But I think it's just gonna get even more insane, because I think on the blurb it says that there are like bodies hanging from like rides and like heads on spikes and stuff. So I'm enjoying this. And I was going to start Mary by Nat Cassidy on an audiobook, I don't know, I think I need something kind of lighter, something not as dark and intense, because I think Mary's gonna be kind of dark. I've heard that, like, you know, we're in her head and it's pretty dark, so I don't know if I can do that right now. I've read Annette Cassidy. It was dark and it was really good, but I don't know if I can do that. I finished Rouge by Mona Awad. It was very weird. I have to say I really liked the beginning. The middle part kind of lost me a little bit, and it's because our narrator, you know, our protagonist is kind of unreliable. Like, she's kind of in and out, like kind of, she doesn't really know what's going on, so we don't know what's going on. It's kind of fever dreamish, because she even like says things and she's like, what? I didn't mean to say that. Or she'll end up somewhere and be like, how did I get here? Or like, so it's very confusing, and things that she does is confusing, and things that she did when she was a kid. That's the part that I didn't really like. It was pretty dark. I read a comment saying that it is Snow White, but like a darker version of Snow White. Yeah, there's like mirrors and things going on with the mirrors, and things going on with the mirrors when she was a kid, and it got very dark. I didn't like that portion of the book when we went back to when she was a kid. I was afraid it was gonna take this turn. It made me like anxious. However, the end really got me. The end was really touching. It like wrapped itself up really well. Like, I thought the end saved it for me. I thought in the middle of the book, just like, I don't like where this is going. And then the end was, sorry, the lighting keeps changing. The sun is in and out. The end was so good. And I'm so glad that the end was good. I liked the book. I think I gave it 3.5 stars, I think. And I was really hoping the end was gonna like, that it was gonna be good. But the book, if you read this book, I would read the author's notes and the Q&A at the end of the book, because Mona Awad answers these questions about the book, and I really enjoyed listening to her answers about the book. But the book is, it's talking about beauty and the beauty industry, and how it is kind of cultish, the just beauty industry in general, and what people will do for beauty, and how people become obsessive about beauty. It's also focusing on a very complicated mother-daughter relationship and insecurities in our protagonist about her skin color, her hair, her just her facial features. Like, she calls herself ugly, I think, many times in the book, and just how obsessive she is with trying to be more beautiful. I thought it was good, and I would be interested to read another Mona Awad, especially because that one I feel is the one that is least loved. I'm wondering if I would like the other ones even more, but I don't know if I could do another fever dreamish kind of weird creepy book right now. Like I said, I think I need something lighter. I've almost thought about like getting away from my TBR and picking something that's not horror. Like, I'm reading spooky books right now, but I think I'm gonna try to decide what to read, because I think, I don't know, like, should I like continue Twilight and read New Moon? I don't remember this, like the movie, as much as I did Twilight. Like, I can picture the whole movie of Twilight, but I can't picture New Moon, so maybe this would be a little bit like better to read, because I don't know exactly everything that happens. So I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna read this or like completely differ from my TBR and like pick a fantasy. But I'm gonna continue this. My plan is to finish this today. So I'll see you later. I think I've figured out where to put my TBR, because I like my TBR in the living room these days, because that's where I'm spending like all my time. But I can't have them on this thing, or I don't like to, because Batsy likes to lay on top of that. and look out the window. So I feel bad when I have books there and she's kind of like trying to find a place to lie down. So I put this thing underneath it, which doesn't look great, but I could put my books there. But just this just does not look good. I have this bookshelf thing, which is kind of just behind the couch. Like it's not, I'd like it here, but if I put it where this is, I could put my books on the second shelf. Because what this is really being used for is that lamp and that diffuser. And those things can go on that little desk. I could clear out some of this stuff and put my books there. And maybe books down here too. And then this could just be more visible than it kind of just being hidden back here. So that's what I think I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna swap them. That way I can actually like see my books and then like be displayed nicely. It's now October, so I wanted to show you guys my October TBR in case you didn't see my like stack. If you haven't seen my stack yet that I plan to read in October. The first book that I finished in October was Fantastic Land by Mike Bachhoven. This was okay. The story is cool. It's I don't really like how it was written, but this is like Lord of the Flies in an amusement park after a hurricane has hit Florida, and everyone just goes crazy and divides themselves into tribes, and it's just talking about how people can react or behave when they no longer have their phones, when they run out of food, when they run out of water, and what happens when that's taken away from people, or what could happen. Like, this is pretty dramatic, like what happened in this story, but it's Lord of the Flies basically. But this whole book is a bunch of interviews with a bunch of different people, and that made it hard for me to connect to anyone. I thought it would have been more interesting if we followed a few people and got their perspective and their feelings about what's happening in this amusement park, instead of just hearing from a bunch of different random people. Like, we don't have a character to follow, and for that reason it made me not care as much about the story, because I think I wanted to be like emotionally attached to someone. Like, maybe have interviews here and there, but give us a character to like root for. Give us a tribe that we are like hoping that they survive out of all these other tribes or something, you know, a little bit of emotional attachment. This had none for me. You know, that's my personal opinion. That's not what this author was going for, obviously, because it's interviews. It's not a character kind of driven book, but it's what I wanted. I wanted someone to root for, someone to like follow as they're slowly kind of going mad in this amusement park. Some of my neighbors passed by and saw me like holding up this book and they were looking up like, what is she doing? So I thought it was just okay. I thought this was gonna be like a really awesome horror, and I just felt very detached. For my October TBR, if you haven't seen my other vlogs, I'm going to read or reread Frankenstein, Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, Neil Gaiman, Coraline, I'm gonna read this with my sister, Shirley Jackson's The Haunting of Hill House. I want to watch the show after I read the book, so I'm really looking forward to getting to this one. I'm going to reread The Day of the Triffids. This is a really good book. I think I might read this one first. I'm trying to decide. And then the two that I'm most looking forward to that I've wanted to read for a long time, Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo and The Secret History. I feel like these are like, you read these in fall. You read these in October. I think these are perfect for this season. I like want to get a pumpkin cream cold brew and just like dive into these books. I'm so looking forward to these two. And I think probably Frankenstein. I'm really looking forward to rereading Frankenstein. Some of these I will listen to. The Day of the Triffids, I love the audiobook for this one, so I'm gonna listen to this one. I might listen to Frankenstein or immersion read, but you know how you have some books that like you want to physically read? Like, I don't want to listen to this book, I want to like immersion read it. I want to listen and look at the words. Some books I just feel are like that, whereas like this one, I listened to this and loved just listening to it. I feel like some books are just kind of different, like that. This book, I feel like I did not need to read, like physically read. Listening to this one was totally fine. I did immersion read a little bit, and then it's kind of like, you know, this is totally a book I could just listen to, like details that I want to make sure I don't miss by like physically reading it. When I read Rouge by Mona Awad, I read that digitally and like immersion read it because I did not want to miss things, especially since that book was kind of already confusing. I wanted to like see it with my eyes and listen to it at the same time. This, I didn't need that because I just didn't need to, but some of these I like really want to listen and read at the same time, so I'm excited to dive into these. I still have not moved my little book shelf thing in the living room to have these books there. Normally I have my TBR, I'm at my desk, I would have it like at my desk here, but I've been reading mostly in the living room, so I want to have my TBR over there. I just need to move that bookcase. But I also created my little October TBR page in my journal. So I'm looking forward to having like a physical TBR page. Normally I just do this digitally, but I kind of want to like have it physically. And currently I'm listening to New Moon. I wanted something kind of light, but still have that like spooky October vibe, like, you know, vampires. So I'm listening to the second book. See, this is a book that I also just feel like I can just listen to, and it's like watching the movie. I don't need to necessarily read every single page for this. Like, I also already know what happens. But this is a fun book just to listen to while I'm working, while I'm doing the dishes. I don't have to like super pay attention to it. And it's just a fun time. So I'm in the second book. I don't know how far I plan to get in this series. I haven't like planned to read the whole thing this year. So I'm just kind of taking it a book at a time, because I know one of these books, it might be the next one, is like quite a bit longer. So I don't know if I would want to waste, or not waste, but spend time reading another Twilight book when I already have a pretty large stack of books. So, but that's the plan. So I'm going to continue to listen to this. I have videos to edit. I have things to do. I'm not going to get into any of these books today. I'm thinking tomorrow. Like, I have to mentally prepare myself. Like, today I am starting this book so that I am like, I can't just start one of these randomly. I want to be in the right headspace. I want to, you know, absorb these books. Yeah, I'm gonna go and I'll see you later.